Have you ever had one of those moments where everything in your life suddenly clicks? Not because you got a new job, not because someone finally apologized, not because life got easier, but because you finally understood yourself? Like you weren't too emotional, you weren't lazy, you weren't broken, you weren't making excuses, you weren't hard to love, you were unseen, even by you. Me see, let me ask you something real. What if the reason you've been fighting yourself is because you never had the right language for what you were carrying? That's what happened to me. And today I want to walk you through that experience because that one moment changed the way I heal, the way I love, and the way I stop blaming myself for wounds I didn't choose. Hey, my beautiful people, welcome back to the podcast. This is Dagmarie from Way of the Wise Owl. And if you're new here, I'm your girl who's going to tell you the truth even when it stings, but also remind you that you're not alone in the sting. Today's episode is about something that scared me for years, if I'm being honest. Assessments, evaluations, those official let's see what's really going on here moments. Because I used to think if I sat in front of someone and they evaluated me, I'd be exposed, labeled, judged, or worse, told that what I felt wasn't real. But instead, I had a moment so soft and so loud at the same time. A moment where I sat there and whispered to myself, oh, this makes sense now. And that's what I want to unpack with you today. Here's what you'll get from listening. I'm going to walk you through my evaluation experience like you're right there with me. I'm going to share the emotional moment where everything finally made sense. I'm going to normalize assessments and why they are not your enemy. And I'm going to close with the kind of affirmation that hugs your nervous system. So if you've ever been scared to look deeper, if you've ever felt like maybe something is wrong with you, but you can't name it, stay with me. You might leave today with clarity and compassion for yourself you didn't know you needed. Let's talk about what we mean when we say assessment or evaluation. I'm not talking about somebody judging your worth. I'm not talking about someone deciding if you're good enough. I'm talking about a process, on sometimes clinical, sometimes coaching based, that helps you understand your patterns, your nervous system, your coping tools, your wounds, your strengths, your blind spots. It's basically a structured mirror. And baby, mirrors are powerful because a mirror doesn't invent anything. It doesn't create flaws. It just reveals what's already there. And why does this matter? Because most of us are walking around with invisible stories about ourselves that aren't true. Stories we picked up to survive. I'm just difficult. I overreact. I can't change. I always ruin things. Something is wrong with me. I'm behind. I should be stronger by now. Pause. But what happens when we ignore this part of ourselves? What happens when we never take time to understand why we are the way we are? We keep repeating cycles we swear we hate. We stay at war with our emotions. We keep choosing people who confirm our pain. We keep calling trauma personality. We keep calling survival failure. And then we wonder why we're tired. Let me say this plainly. You cannot heal what you won't name. You cannot change what you refuse to understand. And you cannot love yourself fully if you keep treating your wounds like moral failures. That's why assessments matter. Not to box you in, to set you free. Walk through the evaluation experience plus emotional this makes sense now moment. Okay, let me take you there. I remember walking into that evaluation like I was walking into court. My body was tense before I even sat down. I had that fake little smile on my face like I'm fine. But my chest was saying, girl, we are not fine. Because here's the truth. When you've been dismissed your whole life, when people have called you dramatic or too much, when you've been told to just get over it, the idea of being evaluated feels like another setup for rejection. It felt like, what if they say I'm making it up? What if they say I'm weak? What if they say none of this happened the way I remember? What if they don't believe me? So I walked in guarded, not rude, not closed off, just protecting the little girl in me that got laughed at for crying. And the evaluator was calm. Not cold calm, grounded calm. The kind of calm that your nervous system recognizes as safe. They asked me questions I didn't expect to answer honestly. Not what's your problem, but what's been heavy for a long time? What do you do when you feel unsafe? What does your body do when life gets too loud? What's your first instinct when someone gets close? What's the story you tell yourself when you mess up? And I'm sitting there thinking, dang, this isn't about proving myself. This is about understanding myself. Then they started mapping patterns out loud. They didn't say it with judgment. They said it like somebody describing the weather. They reflected back things I had never put into coherent sentences. How I learned to survive by controlling everything I could. How my nervous system stays on alert even when nothing is happening. How I became independent because depending on people felt dangerous. How I carry grief like a house I never moved out of. How I confuse peace with boredom because chaos was familiar. How my body reacts before my mind even catches up. And I'm listening and my eyes start burning because I'm realizing I wasn't flawed. I was formed. I wasn't unstable. I was trained by past pain to stay ready for impact. I wasn't too much. I was holding too much alone. Then came the moment. The evaluator said something, not dramatic, not poetic, just true. They said basically, your responses make sense in the context of what you've lived through. And I swear to you, something inside me broke open. Not in a collapsing way, in a releasing way, because nobody had ever said that to me before. Nobody had ever looked at my coping and called it logical. Nobody had ever connected the dots for me without blaming me for the dots. And right there, I felt it in my whole body. Oh, this makes sense now. The way I love, the way I fear, the way I shut down, the way I overthink, the way I stay on edge, the way I fight for people who barely fight for themselves, the way my body carries stress like it's a full-time job. It wasn't random. It was a system, a survival system. And the wild part, that realization didn't shame me. It softened me. It didn't make me feel broken. It made me feel human. Step-by-step coaching through the process. So let me coach you here because some of you are listening like, okay, Dagmarie, but I'm scared to do that. I don't even know where to start. What if I don't like what I find? Let's walk through it gently, step by step. Step 1, name what you want clarity on. Not what you want to fix, what you want to understand. Ask yourself, what pattern keeps repeating in my life? Where do I feel stuck emotionally? What do I keep blaming myself for? What part of me feels the most misunderstood? What do I want language for? You don't need perfect words. You just need honesty. Step 2, choose the right kind of assessment. Not every evaluation is clinical. Not every assessment means diagnosis. There are different doors. Coaching assessments for values, attachment style, emotional intelligence, boundaries, trauma patterns. Clinical evaluations for mental health, PTSD, anxiety, depression, neurodivergence, etc. Somatic or nervous system assessments that help you understand your body's stress responses. The point is not the label. The point is the insight. Step 3, go in with curiosity, not punishment. Listen, if you show up to an evaluation trying to prove you're not broken, you're already hurting yourself. Go in saying, I'm here to understand me. I'm here to learn how I work. I'm here to stop guessing. I'm here to stop carrying this alone. Curiosity opens doors that self-judgment keeps locked. Step 4, let the mirror speak. When the results or reflections come back, don't rush to argue with them. Sometimes our first instinct is, no, that's not me. Or, that sounds bad. Or, I don't want to be that. But pause and ask, is this describing a wound? Is this describing a survival tool I learned? Is this describing something I've been ashamed to say out loud? Let the mirror speak without interrupting it. Step 5, translate insights into compassion. This is the most important part. Every time you learn something about yourself, respond with compassion. Oh, I do that because that makes sense because I learned that when I was trying to stay safe this changes everything. Because compassion is what turns information into healing. Let me tell you what shifts when you let yourself be assessed, whether clinically or emotionally. You stop making your survival a character flaw. Instead of I'm toxic, you say I'm wounded and learning. Instead of I'm unlovable, you say I learned love through pain and I'm rewriting that. Instead of I'm a mess, you say I've been carrying too much without support. You gain language for your inner world. Language is power. When you can name what's going on inside of you, you stop feeling trapped by it. You learn what you actually need, not what you think you should need. Some of us need safety. Some need boundaries. Some need rest. Some need to grieve. Some need support. Some need to stop surviving in places that require survival. You become less triggered by your own emotions because now you understand why they show up. You stop fearing yourself. Now, let me be real about pitfalls. Sometimes people get assessed and then use it like a prison sentence. Well, that's just how I am. I've got trauma, so that's why I act like this. I'm this attachment style, so I can't change. No, assessments are not a life sentence. They are a map. A map doesn't walk the journey for you, it just shows you where you are. And baby, knowing where you are is how you stop getting lost. So if you're listening to me today and something inside you is whispering, I need that kind of clarity. Or I'm tired of guessing what's wrong. Or I want to understand myself without shame. Let this be your sign. Not a sign that something is wrong with you. A sign that something is ready to be seen. Your patterns are not proof that you're failing. They are proof that you survived with the tools you had at the time. And now you get to upgrade the tools. You get to learn yourself in a new way. You get to stop fighting the mirror and start listening to it. Let me leave you with this truth. You are not behind in your healing. You are not late to your life. You are not weak for needing understanding. You are brave for wanting truth. And if an assessment is part of your truth, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're ready to become whole. Short affirmation, slow, grounded. Repeat after me, even if you don't fully believe it yet. I am a person to be understood. My responses make sense. My healing is possible. And I deserve clarity, compassion, and peace. Yes, you do. All right, my loves, thank you for sitting with me in this one. I know this topic can feel tender, and I'm proud of you for staying. If this episode helped you breathe a little deeper or understand yourself a little kinder, do me a favor, share it with someone who needs permission to stop blaming themselves. And if you want more support, resources, or coaching energy from me, come hang out at https://www.wayofthewiseowl.com. You'll find the podcast, the blog, and tools to keep walking your healing path. Until next time, keep choosing truth, keep choosing softness. Love you. See you soon.